Hi everyone, I'm Richard England, Vicar of Crofton Parish, and this is the third in a series of short videos explaining what's next in Crofton Parish in the light of the COVID-19 pandemic. So, what's next in Crofton Parish? Now this morning, as you can see, I am back on site at Holy Rood Church, and I thought that what I would do is I would just talk to you about the new groups that we're setting up, about the new streams, and some of the other things that are going to be happening as we gradually reopen our buildings, and just give you a walk through so you can understand what it's going to be like when you, either in a stream or some other group, are able to come back on site and actually start meeting in person again. So we're going to have a little walk through, we're going to have a little walk around the building, see what's changed. Some of it will look familiar, some of it will look different, and I want to try to give you some confidence that when you come back on site for an actual gathering, either at a stream or in one of our new stream groups, or at some other group or some other meeting, that you can come back and feel safe and feel confident that we are doing, that everything is being done that can be done so that you can meet safely here. Let's have a little walk around the site, shall we? As you can imagine, it's really lovely to be back on site at Holy Rood, back in this place that's really precious to so many of us. The first thing I want to think with you about is getting in and out of the site, because there will be a one-way system for getting into the Holy Rood site and then getting out of it as well. As you can see, a few of the team are here meeting, talking about getting set up and getting set up ready for groups and other events to restart. And the doors are open, but here's the thing, there will be a one-way in and there'll be different ways out depending on which part of the building you're in. And actually, if you arrive early, you won't be allowed in, and you'll have to queue here, and actually you'll have to queue in a socially distant manner as if you would going into a shop. So if we've got a big meeting, we've got lots of people arriving early, it's quite possible that actually there will be a queue all the way around the corner. So the first thing I need to ask you to do is have a think about how early you need to arrive for the meeting or the service or whatever it is, because some of us are used to arriving very early, 20 minutes early, 30 minutes early, even more than that sometimes on Sunday. Some people arrive about an hour early, which is wonderful, it's very commendable. But if you arrive very early for a meeting on site, you actually won't be able to go in, and you'll find yourself queuing here. So I would just ask you, the first thing to do is to ask you to have a little think about how early you need to be for your meeting or for your group. Right, we are going to go into the building itself. Now, a lot of things haven't changed. It'll still look very familiar to many of you, but this will be one of the things that will be very obvious, and this will be familiar to you. You will have seen these kinds of stations everywhere you go these days. So when you arrive on site, you will need to sanitize your hands. There'll be hand sanitizer available. There will be check-in lists. Whatever group you're coming to, you will need to register. That's if there happens to be a case in the group that you're part of. We'll have your details, and we can make sure that the NHS track and trace can follow you up. And you'll either be going left into the centre when you arrive, or right into church first. Let's go and have a look in the church, shall we, at what it will look like. You will still need to practice social distancing, 2 meter social distancing inside in our church services. And the wonderful team, Jill and Vicky, have anticipated this. They did this back in March while we were still getting used to this. They've separated out the aisles and the chairs so that you can sit safely at a distance. So we're going to have a little look around the church, and I'm going to explain to you exactly how some of our new meetings will work. As you can see behind me, the front of Holy Rood is now effectively a studio, an internet studio for producing and running our Sunday morning services. So we have divided the church into a 1/3, which is the studio at the front, and then the 2/3, which are the rest of the building, which will be available for groups and for streams to meet in. But it's going to look a little weird because we've got all this junk at the front. Actually, it's 2 studios right now. It's the morning studio that you can see there with the TV and the camera set up and all the lights and the new computer that we need for all of that. And then right at the back, just in front of the cross, if you can see, we've got set up for an evening, for our evening prayer as well, which I think is a new thing, but it's a really precious time. And that gives us a space to do some different things over the weeks and months ahead. But now let me just show you the rest of the room and let me explain how if you come to a meeting, if you come to a stream, how it will work. So here's the rest of the church. This is what it looks like from the front. And basically the way it will work is that it will be 1 row of chairs per household, and so that we can continue to practice social distancing. So if you're a couple coming, you'll have a row to yourselves. If you're a family, you'll have a row to yourselves. If you're a big family, we'll have to find you a particular row. Look, this is a 6-seater row for families with lots of kids. Our streams will be places of community. There will be places of belonging, but to begin with, I'm afraid it will be, particularly for the larger streams that will need to meet in church, it will be a little bit front-led. We really don't want them to feel like a church service, but to begin with, because we have to comply with the government guidelines on social distancing, there will be an element of having your row and sitting in it, and whoever leading will be leading from the front, but it means that we'll be able to sit and meet safely, confident that everything is being done to make it as safe as possible. One other thing that will happen is that all the doors will be open all the time, I'm afraid, because we know that they're becoming increasingly clear that good ventilation is important. And so all these doors will be open no matter what time of year it is to make sure that we can get as good ventilation in as possible. Of course, we're helped by the height of the building. That does help in our favour, but we know that it's important to get good airflow. So if you are meeting in the church, you will have come in through the main entrance, and then you will have sat for however long, a 30-minute service maybe, or an hour-long stream, and you will have been in the building, and then you will leave out this door with another opportunity to sanitize your hands as you go, and then go on out to whatever you have to do next. So that's what it's going to be like to meet in the church. Why don't we go and have a look at the other place where some groups, some streams will be meeting, which is in the parish hall. So we're in the parish hall, which is as echoey as it has ever been. And as you'll see, I'll show you a bit more in a minute, but you'll see behind me that the team have done a brilliant job of marking out the floor so people know exactly where they can sit and where they can meet and where they can meet safely here in the hall. The church will be able to take perhaps up to 30 individuals or households for a meeting. The hall is much smaller, so it'll be less than 15, I would think. So for those streams which are a little bit smaller, this will be where you are. And you will come in through the main entrance, check in as we showed you, but then you'll be leaving through the doors behind me, going out into the garden and back out as well. And the hall has got, as you know, great access to our kitchen, which our brilliant kitchen with its fantastic facilities. To begin with, at least, we will not be running refreshments for any of the groups or the streams that are meeting on site. It will be bring your own drink, bring your own coffee, bring your own cup of tea. If you're having something to eat, you'll need to bring your own food as well. Now, we will hope to get to the point of being able to serve refreshments safely in due course. But if you're used to coming to a group where you've got a nice cup of tea afterwards, then that won't be happening to begin with, at least for a while we just get used to being back on site safely. safely. Okay, let me show you around the hall. Let me show you the markings. Let me explain how this is all going to work. So, as you can see, the team have done an absolutely brilliant job of marking out the space here. There's a central aisle, a central pathway for people to come in and out of, so you can, and then there are individual pathways between actually 11 marked out 2-meter spaces where you and your family, your household can safely meet. So the hall will take up to 11 units, as it were, individuals, households or families. So if you've got a family of 4 and you're coming to a stream meeting, you'll get marked out a space like this. We could have taken 12 except for the snooker table here in the corner. So if a 12th family wants to come in, they'll have to sit on the snooker table. But what that means is that these spaces here, if you've got a big family, if you've got 4 or 5 kids, and then actually there'll be a little bit of extra space for you to spread into. And a little bit like in the church, it will feel, I think in the hall, it will feel a little bit more kind of community, a bit more like, rather than just sat in rows, unlike the church. But the distance between us, we have to be honest, will make that kind of close sharing that we've experienced before, won't feel quite the same. But regardless of that, we are really excited and looking forward to getting people back on site in the weeks ahead. Let me finish by explaining what groups are going to be restarting over the next few weeks. So we are still working on getting all our streams set up, the new groups of less than 30, well, some will be a little bit more than 30, but organising down our whole membership here at Holy Rood into groups of about 30. So we're still working on them. Some of them will be ready to go and they will be ready to meet. The building will be ready for streams to start meeting at various slots through the week from next weekend. So from the weekend of Friday the 24th of July, the building will be open for streams to start meeting, and it's going to get a little bit of a clean in this week, and so it'll be ready for that. So the streams can start meeting from next weekend. That doesn't mean it'll be every stream will meet in the first week or two. There'll be a rolling kind of a rolling pattern of streams as they start meeting. As I said last week, if you aren't in a home group but would love to be in a stream, please do get in touch this week. Please let us know that you'd be like to be allocated to one of the streams with existing home groups or one of the streams with one of the new streams that we're setting up especially for this time. I think these are going to be really brilliant environments, really brilliant spaces for people in the weeks and months ahead. And I think as lockdown continues, as we continue to live with the reality of the pandemic, those spaces are going to be really precious and really important. The chance to meet, just to sit with maybe 30 people, other people, the chance to pray for others, to be prayed for, to share, to support one another as best we can, given the restrictions. I think it's going to be really important. So the streams can start meeting from next weekend. And then our Thursday morning service, what was our Thursday morning communion, is going to restart at the beginning of August. I'll let you know dates more nearer the time. But one difference will be that it will be, well, a couple of differences. It will be here in the building at Holy Rood. So it won't be in the foster room. It will be here in the church itself. And it will be starting at 10 o'clock from when it restarts in August. So it will have a 10 o'clock start. It will last about half an hour, that Thursday morning service. But we are really looking forward to welcoming people back to that. The Thursday morning service in the church, in the first instance, will be primarily for those who aren't online, who haven't been able to access the online services, church online, church at home, that we've been running over the last few months. And it is also for those who, particularly for individuals and couples who are quite isolated and who don't have a lot of people around to support them. So that is particularly going to be important for you. So we are really looking forward to welcoming you back to our Thursday morning service. It won't be a communion service to begin with. It will just be a Thursday morning service. But we are really looking forward to welcoming you back to that. So those are the next things that are going to be happening as we gradually reopen Holy Rood. Stream starting from next weekend, and the Thursday morning service starting from the beginning of August. If you're part of the congregations at St Edmunds, you'll be delighted to know that we are working on our own plan to get St Edmunds reopened, and we are hopeful that we will be able to have at least 2 Sunday services at St Edmunds in August, but more details to follow, so do look out for that. But from now, from everybody at Holy Rood, from the clergy team, from the staff team, let me say how excited we are to be able to get the building reopened, and how much we are looking forward to welcoming you here as part of a stream or as part of some other group as we reopen the building and as we get used to being able to gather again in very different ways, in a very different field, but to gather again as the people of God. In the meantime, God bless you, and we will see you soon.